Let's talk about something that I think a lot of persons would like to know, especially since the pandemic, where we haven't really been out and about as much. I think it's really important for us to discuss connecting with others in a social setting. For those of us who have struggled with social anxiety, overthinking, or just general anxiety, like this is a really big one. But even then, for most people, going out in social situations can sometimes feel a little awkward, a little bit uncomfortable, and people may not know what to do. I know I didn't. So there are some things that I would like to discuss about how it is that we could build stronger connections with the people around us. Maybe those we know or those we aren't too familiar with. When you're talking about being in social settings, the greatest advice that people give you is, oh, just be yourself, they love you. But what does that even mean? What does it mean to be yourself? I do believe that it means to be authentic and to, like allow your light to shine, so to speak. But how do we get there? No worries, we're going to come back to that. Let's talk about a few ground rules and things that will help you to create a fantastic foundation in order to connect with everyone around you. First things first, making eye contact. Making eye contact is extremely important. No matter where you are, no matter what you do, no matter what kind of deal that you're trying to strike up, creating eye contact is key. It is said that the eyes are the windows to the soul. And it is also said that you can never truly know a person without looking into their eyes. Now, if these things are true, or if it no go so, it nearly go so, then it's okay. We know that this is important. There are also other schools of thoughts where persons believe that if you're trying to avoid eye contact, that you're untrustworthy or you may lack self-confidence. All of these things we're trying to avoid. We really want to connect with people, get to know who they are, and we want people to know who we are. It's okay to be vulnerable, at least at a surface level, with persons that you're meeting. You want them to see that you mean them well, that you are open to receiving communication with them. All right, so all of this is important just by looking in the eyes. Looking in the eyes can be uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially if you're not used to it, especially if you didn't grow up with a lot of eye contact, especially if you've grown up in certain situations where eye contact could have been deemed threatening. If that's the case, then I understand. But I guarantee you that in most social settings in the world today, making eye contact is a sign of respect. So, what I would like you to do, if you're not too familiar with this, is to make eye contact with yourself in the mirror or practice with a friend, a partner, a loved one. It doesn't matter. Make it a staring contest. Who can look into each other's eyes the longest? And the first person to blink loses. They owe you an ice cream, a soda pop, something. Maybe not soda. Let's say fruits. They owe you a fruit, something. But making a fun game of something that can feel so intimidating at first is a great way to just bring your body into the awareness of it and into the practice of it. I know you got this. Let's talk about general rule number 2, remembering names. Now, this might be a trick that everyone talks about. Remember names, remember names. I know it's kind of difficult sometimes, especially if you've just met the person, and we'll talk about how. But I want to emphasize the importance of remembering a person's name. When you remember someone's name, when you ask them for your name, ask them to spell their name, and then you repeat it back to them, you continue to use it throughout that conversation, it means something. That is one of the strongest ways to connect with persons, as most persons feel so connected to their names that it is a part of how they value themselves. It is a part of their self-worth. So when you begin to say their names over and over again, they feel important, as they should. They are important, right? We all are. And I think that it's extremely important to remember that there's a lot of power in a name, right? The Bible talks about it, Jesus, the name above all names, right? There are a lot of things surrounding this idea of what's in a name. If you read the Bible, God changes a person's name when it is that they are completely changed on the inside, and he wants to really show this person is a completely different person. You don't call them by their own name, you call them by their new name. Names are extremely important, and if you don't know it before, you know it now. Your name is your power. So having people call you by your name is powerful, and calling someone else by their name is also powerful. When you take the time to use someone's power, to use someone's name to uplift them and empower them, they feel that sense of worth, they feel that sense of lifting. And they then in turn have all of this gratitude and love towards you. They feel warm towards you because you are lifting them up. And who doesn't want to be lifted up? Right? So that is a deep way to connect with someone. That's so simple. If you're not someone who remembers names easily, that's okay. I understand there are different ways and tricks that you can kind of use. You can imagine their name like written on a string, so like a blue piece of string. As they spell it out, you can picture each letter on that string and tuck that away in your memory closet. All of this is done in your mind's eye. You're imagining it in the back of your mind as they're spelling it out. That usually helps the mind to be able to reach for it when it's needed. You can also but imagine writing it on a piece of paper, folding that piece of paper, and again putting it up in your memory box. Those kind of little tricks, just thinking about doing that actually really does help to cement the name within your mind. And of course, push comes to shove, if the person is very important, write it down. Don't be above that. Kind of excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, and write it down on a piece of paper or in your phone when you're in the bathroom. Okay? So don't do it in front of them. But always try to make a concerted effort to remember and speak well of people's names. When you say people's names in a loving way, when you empower them and uplift them, it is one of the greatest connections that you can have.